Scientists called the Amazon a green desert, soy too acidic and too nutrient-poor to support civilization. For decades, that was settled science. Then geneticists extracted DNA from a 10,400-year-old skeleton in Brazil and found ancestry linked not to the Americas, but to Australasia. The oldest DNA ever recovered from this region did not reveal an empty wilderness. It revealed a civilization nobody expected and a vanished past that science is only now beginning to reconstruct. For generations, the Amazon was branded a green desert, a phrase that captured both the mystery and the supposed futility of its landscape. Scientists pointed to the soil itself, cataloging its acidity and poverty in nutrients. Oxasols, the dominant soil type across much of the basin, register a pH of just 4 to 5, making them highly acidic. Their cation exchange capacity, a measure of how well soil can hold on to essential nutrients, rarely exceeds 5 centimoles per kilogram. In practical terms, this means that when the forest canopy is stripped away, the ground beneath quickly turns hostile to crops. Phosphorus, nitrogen, and calcium leach out with every rain. Attempts at conventional farming often end in barren clearings, overtaken by scrub and grass within a few years. This chemical reality shaped the thinking of archaeologists and ecologists alike. If the land could not sustain intensive agriculture, then large, permanent settlements seemed impossible. Early explorers and scientists described the Amazon as a place where only scattered bands of hunter-gatherers could survive, moving constantly to avoid exhausting the thin layer of organic matter on the forest floor. The idea of lost cities, engineered landscapes, or monumental architecture hiding beneath the trees was dismissed as fantasy. Such was the power of the green desert paradigm. The soil's chemistry became a scientific boundary, a line that no ancient civilization was supposed to have crossed. Any evidence to the contrary would have to be extraordinary, something that could not be explained away by poor preservation or wishful thinking. This conviction shaped decades of fieldwork, research funding, and even the questions scientists dared to ask. It would take more than a few scattered artifacts to overturn it. It would take evidence on a scale no one was prepared to accept. In 2015, a team led by geneticist David Reich published findings that sent shockwaves through the world of human origins research. When the genomes of two indigenous Amazonian groups, the Surui and the Caritiana, were sequenced, the results defied every expectation. Instead of matching only the expected Siberian-derived ancestry found across the Americas, both groups carried a small but unmistakable genetic signature that linked them to populations thousands of miles away, Australian Aboriginals and Papuans from Oceania. The numbers were modest, just about 2% of their DNA, but the signal was robust, surfacing across all platforms and confirmed by D-statistics with Z-scores of 4 or higher. This was not a statistical fluke or contamination. The Australasian affinity, which Reich's team dubbed Population Y after the Tupi word for ancestor, could not be explained by any known migration model. No similar signal appeared in North American samples, nor in other South American groups outside the Amazon. The implication was staggering. At some point in the deep past, a lineage with ties to Australasia had reached the heart of South America, left a faint but enduring genetic legacy, and then vanished from the historical record. As Reich later put it, the Australasian signal is small but reproducible across independent analytical frameworks, suggesting a deep, possibly pre-colonial gene flow into the Amazonian gene pool. This finding cracked open the myth of the Amazon as an untouched wilderness, revealing a genetic mystery that standard migration stories could not contain. The Lagoa Santa site in eastern Brazil became the unlikely stage for the next breakthrough. In 2018, a team of archaeogeneticists extracted DNA from a human tooth buried in those ancient caves. Radiocarbon dating placed the remains at roughly 10,400 years before present, a time when mammoths still roamed parts of the Americas. When the genome was sequenced, the results were as perplexing as they were precise. The same Australasian signal found in modern Surui and Caritiana was present in this ancient individual, hovering around 1 to 2%. Outgroup F statistics confirmed the affinity. Alleles clustered closer to Papuans and Aboriginal Australians than to any known Native American or East Asian reference. Yet, when researchers compared these findings to ancient genomes from North America, like Anzac 1 in Montana or Kennewick Man in Washington, no trace of the Australasian link appeared. The anomaly was both ancient and geographically isolated. Two main hypotheses began to circulate. One suggested a coastal migration, a group traveling along the Pacific or Atlantic Rim, bypassing the north and settling deep in the Amazon. The other proposed hidden genetic structure in the founding populations, where only a southern branch retained the Australasian imprint. Both options seemed improbable, yet the evidence stood firm. The Lagoa Santa genome forced a reckoning. The Amazon's genetic history was not just anomalous, but fundamentally at odds with the migration models that had guided scholarship for decades. The search for physical traces, settlements, artifacts, engineered landscapes suddenly carried new urgency. If the genetic paradox was real, what material evidence might still lie hidden beneath the trees? Laser pulses fired from small planes have rewritten the archaeological map of the Amazon. In Mato Grosso, Brazil, LiDAR scanning peeled away the forest canopy to reveal 81 previously undocumented settlements, their geometric earthworks and platform mounds hidden beneath the trees. Some of these sites include plazas over 150 meters across, encircled by ditches 5 meters deep, with radiocarbon dates clustering between 1250 and 1500 CE. Population models based on platform volume and settlement density suggest that tens of thousands, possibly up to 80,000 people, once lived here, concentrated in a network of primary centers, secondary villages, and outlying farmsteads. Across the border in Bolivia, the Casarabi region offers even more staggering evidence. LiDAR sweeps across 4,500 square kilometers of the Llanos de Mojos have exposed a four-tiered system of settlements anchored by two megasites, each spanning over 100 hectares. These hubs are crowned by conical pyramids rising 22 meters above the savanna, surrounded by U-shaped compounds, ceremonial mounds, and engineered fish ponds. Excavations confirm occupation from 500 CE to 1,400 CE. Demographic analysis points to regional populations between 55,000 and 120,000, rivaling the urban scale of classic Maya or Khmer polities. Further north, in Ecuador's Upano Valley, Stephen Rostain's team mapped more than 6,000 rectangular platforms and terraces stretching back 2,500 years. The largest mound, M12, stands 12 meters high and 85 meters long, anchoring a city grid that covers 45 square kilometers. Radiocarbon dates center on a range from 500 BCE to 1200 CE. Population estimates suggest that 10,000 to 20,000 people once called this engineered landscape home. Across three regions, the scale and complexity of these settlements demand a radical rethinking of Amazonian history. Terra Preta, or Amazonian dark earth, stands out as a direct answer to the Amazon's soil paradox. In scattered patches across the basin, archaeologists uncovered soil so rich and black it seemed out of place in a region defined by infertility. Unlike the surrounding oxysols, Terra Preta contains up to 12% charcoal by weight, along with pottery shards, fish bones, and plant matter. Soil scientist Bruno Glaser describes it as a human-made transformation created through a process called slash and char, where organic waste and wood are burned at low oxygen, locking carbon into the soil. This biochar acts as a scaffold for nutrients, raising the pH from acidic to near neutral and boosting cation exchange capacity to as high as 30 centimoles per kilogram. Unlike typical tropical soils, these engineered earths can maintain their fertility for centuries, even millennia. Radiocarbon dates from terra preta layers show continuous use over 2,000 years. Modern yield studies suggest a single application can sustain crops for decades without further fertilizer. At conservative productivity rates, these soils could have supported populations of 8 to 10 million people, making dense, permanent settlements not only possible, but sustainable. The existence of this engineered soil forces a new question: who created it, and how did their world vanish so completely? The arrival of Europeans in the late 15th century unleashed a wave of devastation across the Amazon that no society, however resilient, could withstand. Smallpox, measles, and influenza, diseases unknown in the Americas, swept through villages and cities with terrifying speed. Jesuit records and colonial censuses describe entire communities vanishing within a generation. Some regions lost up to 90% of their people. The Surui, once numbering in the tens of thousands, dwindled to a few hundred survivors. This was not a slow decline, but a demographic collapse on a scale rarely seen in human history. Fields were abandoned. Roads and causeways, once bustling with life, fell silent. Without constant tending, the forest reclaimed earthworks and pyramids, its vines erasing plazas and ceremonial centers in a matter of decades. Paleoecological cores show a sudden surge of pioneer tree pollen and charcoal layers, evidence of widespread burning and rapid reforestation after 1550 CE. The landscape that had been shaped by generations of hands became, almost overnight, a silent wilderness. For indigenous descendants, the trauma of loss is more than a line in a history book. Oral traditions recall a time when the rivers teemed with people, when the land itself was a living memory. Today, the engineered soils and hidden ruins stand as mute witnesses to a world erased, not by natural limits, but by catastrophe. The myth of the untouched Amazon is, at its core, a story written by absence, a silence that science is only now beginning to break. Today, ancient genomes and LiDAR scans leave no doubt. The Amazon was a crucible of innovation, not emptiness. Yet in a few centuries, engineered cities vanished beneath trees, their memory erased by disease and conquest. History can disappear overnight, and its lessons, if ignored, threaten to vanish just as quickly.